All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we want to welcome you to Focus on Liberia. Welcome, welcome, and welcome to yet another edition of our program, Q&A with Smith Toby. Mr. Toby is the Deputy Presidential Press Secretary of the Republic of Liberia. He is the guy who does the talking for the president, and we are the guys who do the asking of the tough questions. As always, he's comfortably seated, but he knows what he's up against. I'm Sonny Sier, co-hosting with my buddy here, Dennis Jai. Welcome to our broadcast. As always, do us that usual favor. Folks in cyberspace, go ahead and share the show. This edition is going to be much more informative. Mr. Jai, I am set. Toby is here. Let's do it.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Toby, to yet another edition, Q&A with Deputy Presidential Affairs, Presidential Press Secretary, Mr. Smith Toby. We are glad to have you. We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. My name is Dennis Jai, and we are broadcasting live from our Atlanta studio. Mr. Toby, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Well, again, let me say it is a wonderful time to be back on this unique platform. It gave me a very pleasing opportunity to interact with your listeners and your viewers following your show. So again, we are happy. Let us apologize for the situation of last Sunday. But again, we are happy that we managed to fill in the gap for this Sunday. So the viewers of this unique platform, we are happy we are back. And it promises to be very tough, like the guys have said. So we are in the hot seat.
And Mr. Toby, even before we start the show, people are asking questions. We said Deputy Press Secretary. So Benedict Philip is saying, who is the Press Secretary proper?
So the Press Secretary is Mr. Isaac Solo Kebe. Isaac Solo Kebe is journalist as well. He comes from the background of the print media in Liberia, and he had a very good experience working with other media outlets, and also worked for the United Nations here in Liberia some time back. He went to Sudan on a peacekeeping mission with the United Nations. He enjoyed the confidence of the president. So I'm just his able deputy. So that's why I'm here.
Right. I think where they are, and people ask all that question, so why is the deputy talking and not the proper? And we have no control over that. We take whatever we can get. So speak to that. That you are the one doing the talking and not your boss.
Well, it's just because I received the invitation from your team, and so my boss is equally on other platform, except he haven't been opportune to come on your platform, but he's out and about on several other platforms across the country and on the social media. So because we've established this relationship on this platform, so I'm regular here. Maybe in the not too long future, my boss could face this team sometime to come. But again, we have established a relationship, so I'm making use of this opportunity to ask some of the questions. So let's look ahead. Maybe someday you have my boss here to take your questions.
Mr. Sier, that's a good way to set the stage.
That is a good way to set the stage. And because here at Focus on Liberia, we about fairness of the information. I, in my role here, have also followed Asolo Kebe, who is the press secretary proper. He has given many briefings. I've seen journalists interview him and he answers questions. So yeah, he is Smith boss, but Smith and us here got this program that we carrying on. And so, folks, let's get started. We have multiple topics to discuss, and Mr. Toby is willing to answer the questions. So we will be starting with the death of Mambutu Nyenpan. Mr. Mambutu Nyenpan, prior to his death, served as the Minister of Public Works. We will also talk about the Lone Star, the Wings of Liberia, that was launched by the president. We have reports of a leaked audit reports. We will be talking about that. But we can get started, Mr. Toby. In the US, we have a new president. Our president, President Weah, like other leaders, have sent out congratulatory message to the president-elect, Joe, someone called him Joe Nambwe Bari, and I don't know where they come up with that. So what is the general feeling now in the executive mansion? The U.S. has a new president.
Well, it is not about the general feeling in the executive mansion. I think it is just the tenets of democracy, and America being one of the world's superpower has gone to a very tight election. That election was being followed religiously by people of the world, because the America of all nations talk a lot about democracy. So a lot of followers and leaders of this world has followed that with keen interest. And of course, our president did the same by following the US election. And like you rightly said, following the announcement, not official announcement, because again, we're hearing that there are some outstanding issues, but like leaders of the world have followed that election with keen interest, and they've started sending in their message congratulating the president-elect. So our president, who is also a part of the global world, has done the same by congratulating the president-elect and vice president-elect. And we are all watching the unfolding coming out of the United States with the election. And again, is going to strengthen the democracy of not just the United States, but other African countries and countries around the world that are also following the beautiful tenets of democracy. So the president came out last evening and did send a message of congratulations to the president-elect and of course the vice president-elect on their successful conduct of their election and winning the election.
So Mr. Toby, was the president leaning towards any candidate like former President Hillary Clinton endorsed, former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf endorsed Hillary Clinton? Was the president leaning towards any of the candidates before the?
Well, I think the relationship between former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and Hillary Clinton came a long way in their advocacy and the women's rights issue. So during her participation in the election, it was obvious that Madam Sirleaf was going to give her blessing to Madam Clinton. But again, the election with Mr. Joe Biden and Mr. Donald Trump was an election that was being watched. And so our president, who's of course is one of the leaders, was watching the election, he was following the election, and he did not outrightly announce his support for any of the candidates. But again, like it will happen in the democratic world, in terms of good governance, leaders will always reach out to the winning candidate of the election. And so our president have done just that, owing to the fact that Liberia and America comes a long way in our relationship. So when they are going to election, we are following. And when there is a winner, it is a right thing for the sitting president of the country to extend gratitude and further ties between the incoming administration and the current administration of our country to cement their relationship. So the president is looking forward to see how Liberia can move forward with a continued relationship with the United States.
All right. My last question on this, Mr. Toby. Others are viewing the ascendancy or the election of President-elect Joe Biden as a way that President Trump didn't really, as some people would say, didn't really care. But with Joe Biden, there may be keen interest in Liberia that people are saying it may be more cooperation, or it may be a chance to maybe put some pressure on the Liberian government in case of anything. It could be anything for that nature. So people in the opposition are saying that this may mean they can talk to Joe Biden or lobby the American government to call for things like the implementation of the War Crime Court and other things as a way of putting pressure on the Liberian government. Is there any feeling in the executive mansion as to what the election of Joe Biden may mean for Liberia?
Well, we know every leader comes to a platform with their own agenda. I know that the world is loaded with a lot of different challenges. Currently, the leaders of this world are contemplating on getting rid of COVID. I'm sure the first priority for Mr. Biden, president-elect, was to see how America and the rest of the world gets free from this pandemic. People may have their right to think the way they feel or want to put forth their own thinking about what they expect to happen in a relationship between America and Liberia. What this government wish for and continue to stand for is a better relationship between the government of the United States and Liberia. Other will have their view on several other issues. If the issue of war crime is a discussion that will come in the future, it's something that both government will sit and look at all of the technicality in it. If it is about discussing the issue, it is not about pressuring a government to do what the people of the country thinks. On the contrary. So those are diplomatic corridor, those are diplomatic discussions. So we are looking forward to seeing how our relationship under President Trump and the president-elect will filter and yield very good result for our country. We've had this relationship with America for years, but here we are as a country to even tell us that we are, like some people say in the Liberia parlance, that we are America's stepchild. Countries that got their independence from other countries, you see how they look, how their countries are developed. We are with America for many years, but we remain the same as a country. Is there a time that we can further push our relationship to a level that we can get some of the real benefit that other countries that got their independence from France and other countries in Europe that have developed around the continent? Maybe these are the kind of conversations we should be having, but not to see people wanting to interfere into countries' ballot politics. Again, the Republicans are about to leave the stage. The Democrats are about to resume power. And so we are looking how we can cement our relationship in a better position to see how our country can grow and become part of the 21st century country.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, that was the voice of Deputy Presidential Press Secretary Smith Toby. Now let's come to Liberia. Let's come to the tough questions that we have for you, starting with the death of Mambutu Nyenpan, now former Deputy Minister for Public Works. May his soul rest in peace, and our hearts here from Focus on Liberia go out to his family. So Mambutu is no more. There have been numerous stories concerning his passing, and we are left in the middle as a people. We don't know what to believe. So first of all, we want to know, what is the government doing about his burial, if any?
Well, again, we are all saddened, and we are all mourning the passing of Mr. Nyenpan, Mambutu Nyenpan. As of the date of this government, he was one minister who would hit the ground running in his obligation and tax as a minister of public work. In the first 1 year of this administration, he was named the priority minister because the president priority was on road and continued to be on road. So because he served in that capacity, he was out and about having sleepless night on the road, in flights going to countries around the world, trying to cement agreements here and there to make sure that the president's vision for rule is achieved. Unfortunately, we've lost him through the cold hand of death, and the president is saddened by that. His body returned to the country 2 nights ago. His remains has been deposited at the Semosis funeral parlor, waiting the funeral arrangement. The president on today, that is why the show even came a little late, because I have to accompany the president this afternoon to the home of the bereaved family, where he's gone to sympathize with the family. So all other discussion leading to his final homegoing ongoing with the family and the government. They are yet to finalize the itinerary for his final homegoing. So as soon as that itinerary is released, we will be again happy to share with you and your viewers or your audience to keep you in the know. Again, his death came as a shock, and I think I share with you a release from the family. That release was necessary for all of us because, like you are hearing, we are all hearing, I haven't seen the medical death certificate from the hospital. So I'm not going to sit here to tell you what the doctor said was responsible for his death. In my limitation and what we all learned before he got flown from here to Accra for further medical treatment was that he came down with stroke. That's the only part of the information that we all hold. But I'm told that the family has returned with an official medical report. It is in the family possession. The family have also warned the public to avoid the speculation of people linking others to the death of their son and the kinsman, because they know that there is a medical report that have told them the cause of death.
Right. And Mr. Toby, quickly, we'll go into all those things step by step. There is a medical report, and that medical report is in the hand of the family. You just said, we know he was taken out of Liberia by the government. So my thinking here is that, okay, the government has been with him, or a representative of the government might have gone with him. So tell us, did the government dispatch a family member along with him when he was going to Ghana, or a representative of the government? And is it the government that received the medical report and turned it over to the family?
So what I know is that the government facilitated his treatment, because he was a senior member of the president cabinet.
Mhm.
So when he felt ill, the government worked along with the family, and they took him to Ghana, and he was there on ongoing treatment.
So, Mr.
Family
Smith, you
member-
don't know whether a family member went with him? That's what I want to get clear. Did a family member go with him?
So the government dispatched members of the family.
Okay.
So he had his brother there, he had some of his children there,
Mhm.
and they left with him until he passed.
Right.
They were the ones that returned with the remains of their dad and their brother.
Mhm.
The president had gone to the airport to receive a cabinet minister who passed, even though the government facilitated
Right.
the process. But again, the family accompanied his living body, and they returned with his corpse. So the family, the family is in possession of the certificate,
Right.
the medical report that they returned to the country with. The president met the family today. What were discussed? What were the medical information? We were not privileged to that.
Right.
But again, it is a very sad situation, and the government is working along with the family to make sure that Minister Mambutu Nyenpan can be laid to rest.
Two things, Mr. Smith. First, we know that the cause of death was established, in the hospital, right?
Yeah.
Except that the information is not out yet. Don't you think that's one of the reasons for the confusion? Because in that release from the family, we would expect that as they were reacting to stories or to the rumors, they would just tell us the cause of death, and that will really curtail most of the rumors out there. Don't you think?
So that is in the purview of the family.
Right. I'm just saying, don't you think so?
Yeah.
Don't you think
Yeah,
would be the right thing?
so that could be another way, because there's been several different gossip around.
Right.
Like I said, some of the same things you guys are hearing out there, we are also hearing some of those same conversation around. But it is not authentic, to say this is the fight. So the family carries the fight because they return with all of what the doctor found out. So they put up the statement that we even share with you. So again, like they said, we should respect, and that's the family right, that we should respect and avoid the discussion in the corridor of the public.
Mr. Toby, let me do a follow. Allow me to interrupt you, sir. I don't mean harm. Then let's just ask a very good question. The rumor out there pointing finger at the government. If you read the rumor, if you read other reports in the Para newspaper, let me land.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I was just trying to say the Para newspaper reported a detailed account of what happened, completely different from what we were being told by the government as the cause of death, or this cause of the illness, which is that he has experienced a stroke. What Para newspaper reported is completely different. And if you read the Para News article, you will get to know that the accusing finger is being raised at the government and some key officials in the government. The government raised $150,000 to dispatch this man out of the country. There's a medical report. I will first think the government needed to know, and the family needed to disclose the cause of death. Is completely different, if we can think that way, from the reports that he's been killed with cyanide, he was poisoned, and all that. That would, if I were the president, I would demand that report be put out there. But the president met with the family. They are accusing finger, at his government, and he will not demand that a medical report far from what is being reported out there, and he's not allowing that to come out. Why?
Let me tell you something. Sometimes you guys, the way you run with the information and the people you use as your resource base are all fake people. Do you know who run the Parrot newspaper? Are you aware? Do you know who run the powers that you are referencing as a reliance to giving you?
The Parrot newspaper is a registered and licensed newspaper in Liberia that is operating legally.
Run by whom?
Doesn't matter.
Who you know run the Parrot newspaper? So if we continue to allow people in the segment of the political belief,
and that is why we wanted the government to have done everything possible for the truth from the medical experts to come out, but the government is not allowing that to happen.
Give me some chance.
Go ahead.
Give me some chance.
Go ahead, Mr. Toby.
And we should not always take what you read in the newspaper. We're in the 21st century here, and you should be resourceful. That's the main reason why I even sent to you the communication from the family.
And we read that communication.
If the family who carries the certificate and the medical report have told you in a written communication that they are convinced by the medical report, should the family be responding to
convinced by the medical report of what?
Listen.
What? They won't tell all the cause of that.
Is the family responsible to convince you because one Robert Pade wrote in the Parrot newspaper that the man was person? Can person go to your brain?
The article I read, the article was not authored by Robert Pade.
But I'm telling you, the owner of the paper. So I'm telling you who owns the paper. You don't know who runs the paper. You're only reading the article in the paper. Mr. Pade owns the paper. I'm here. I know the papers that
in my role, the author of any article is the person I must quote or make reference to, not the proprietor of the business.
Forget about people using pen names around here. I can own a newspaper and use pen name on it. I could now write an article and put Smith Toby. I could use my pen name to write a story and do a complete fabrication of the story. And that is not being fair.
Mr. Toby, when Daniel asked the question earlier, you entertain the wisdom that it would have been better for the family to tell the Liberian people, look, other than what people are saying, this is what the medical report said as the cause of death. To lay all these things to rest, but the family will not do it.
Nobody accused the government. The government raised 150,000, like you rightly said. Yes, because they have to charter a flight to take the late minister from this country for medical treatment. When the vice president fell ill, the government raised 150,000 because they had to charter a flight and accommodate other family members on the travel. You understand that? So for us to come back here and take one newspaper article or take Martin Colley article, so see the trends of individuals who've been running with that particular person's story.
What's wrong with those individuals, Mr. Toby? What's wrong with them? Are they not credible Liberians?
No. They are not credible because they write the same thing. Go to Mr. Martin Colley page. You write the same thing the Parrot newspaper put up. You go to another talk show host that you know very well, say the same thing. So they put a spin on something that got no reliance, no evidence. And for you to come here on this very big platform of yours to quote the Parrot newspaper, that's below the belt. Because the Parrot newspaper,
you have to understand that we have to look at you have practiced journalism, Mr. Toby. You have to look at all the accounts regarding a particular story and ask questions based on what is out there. And this is basically what we're doing.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Toby, here's my question.
It is not for us to be speaking to people's assumption because there is no fight to that. The medical report did not say that. So why should I even be talking about what somebody out there think?
So how do you think this whole thing can be laid to rest? There's the medical report that would lay that to rest.
So then,
first of all, we were told by the government that they may experience stroke. So anybody will assume that, okay, then the cause of death must be stroke. What is it about this that the government can disclose that from the medical report? Just do it and this whole argument is over.
Government is not a family. The government is not a family. The government may choose to do that. The family may choose to do otherwise.
All right.
So the government is not.
Let's move to other things, Mr. Toby.
Yeah.
Let's move to other things.
Mr. Toby, in your, you said the body of the late Mambutu Nyenpan is deposited to St. Moses Funeral Parlor. Is there any agreement between the government and St. Moses for which almost, and correct me if I'm wrong, most government officials, they sent to St. Moses? Is there any agreement that you're aware of?
I think that decision again was a family decision. So Mr. Nyenpan lived in the same community where the St. Moses Funeral Home is located, in the Ghana's suburb. And so most of the people who live in that suburb normally love to take their remains to St. Moses. That is not a government decision, it's a family decision.
But is there any agreement with the government and St. Moses that say, give us business?
No, but the government be making business with funeral home.
No,
if you say something
asking.
No, those who are asking those questions need to think. The government deposit permanent individuals' bodies to Strecon as well. So in this country, there are two brand name. There are other mortuaries here or other funeral homes here. If it is not Strecon Funeral Home, then it might be St. Moses, but those decisions are not government decisions. Those are family decisions. The government will not tell the family where to take the remains of the loved one or their relatives.
Understood.
Let's proceed.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is Q&A with Deputy Presidential Press Secretary Smith Toby. And when we tell you that he's in the hot seat, you just see just a little bit of it. We have a lot of issues to discuss. Let me progress. Mr. Toby, let's come to the Lone Star Air, the wings of Liberia. What a beautiful story. I know my people in Grand Crew want to see that plane going there. I remember as a little boy, we saw the chicken airplane. What was it called, Dennis?
Air Liberia?
Air Liberia. We remember Air Liberia. And during the launch, the president has some interesting things to say. He was able to bring back our memory about Air Liberia. He talked about how some countries in the South region have their own carrier. He wants to see Liberia having its own. Beautiful idea. But then the government has been in conversation with Gold Star Airlines. And from our research, Gold Star Airlines has no history of an effective airline operation. That is the industry that I work in. And so I am sitting there or here looking, is this the best our government could do? So, well, let me bring my question. During the launch, we didn't see the actual aircraft on the airfield somewhere, as it is usually done in most countries when they are launching a carrier. We see the carrier is designed perfectly, it is visible. We saw a picture, and then we saw cake in front of our president when he's launching an airline. How are we doing this thing? Tell us, Toby.
So in your premise, did I hear you say the government is in talk with Gold Star? Is that what you said?
Yes, that's what I said. Gold Star Airline.
Did the government say to you they were in talk with Gold Star? Is
all
that
the documents? All the documents I read talk about Gold Star Airline.
And did they tell you that it is the government of Liberia that is in talk with Gold Star? I'm asking this question.
I saw the president, except you want to tell me, Toby, you're trying to make a breaking news. Are you trying to tell us the president of Liberia, why he is president, is in conversation with another airline and partnering with them to launch his personal airline? Is that what you want to tell us if this is not the Liberian government? So tell us.
Well, the first thing, you are being misled.
Go ahead.
The conversation is not between the government of Liberia and Gold Star. So you guys need to always counter check, because if you continue to harp on those information on Facebook, then we'll always reach to this point of, again, providing the way we do it. The government of Liberia is not in any conversation with Gold Star. I want you to get this clear.
a private Liberian is in partnership. So it is not the Liberian government buying the plane. The president did not go launch a plane that the government of Liberia has bought or promised to buy. If you, as a Liberian who understand the airline industry, decide to form a partnership with American Airline, for example, and you come here and meet the government of Liberia, requisite a channel, and decide to do an investment in the airline industry, it is you, the Liberian, and the industry. What President Weah has gone to do to that ceremony is to give his blessing to a Liberian entrepreneur and a Ghanaian that are forming a partnership. The president, the government did not tell anyone out there that they were buying an airline or they were bringing in an airline. So a Liberian who got in contact with a Ghanaian firm decided to do a business. They brought the conversation to the Liberian business space. There are ongoing discussions. There are plans on the way to complete all of the formalities leading to the completion of having that airline in the airspace. They met the president. They discussed the business space of a Liberian man and a Ghanaian man with interest in airline. They asked the president to grace their occasion. The name of the airline did not come from the president. The winds of Liberia did not come from the president. But the president has gone to encourage investment in our country because a Liberian has brought in somebody who he's working with to invest in the aviation industry of our country. How come now it turned out to be that the government of Liberia is buying the plane, or the president has said he's going to bring in the airline?
Mr. Toby, who's the Liberian you are referencing? Who's buying this airline?
So, just his name. I'll get his name out for you because
this is news to me personally.
This is news to me, Dennis, and that's why I'm paying attention here carefully, because I have something to read to Toby so that he can explain it for us.
No, forget it. I will give you the name. I will give you the name of the gentleman who is in conversation with the partnership from Ghana. Apparently, because I'm in speech, his name may have just slipped.
Right, that's okay.
Of my mind. But the story behind the airline is not the government of Liberia that is purchasing the airline.
Right. Can you point to any information out there that is saying exactly what you are saying? Because we don't.
The partnership has been on talk shows yet. The Ghanaian firm, the Liberian firm that are working in collaboration, they are providing the information to the Liberian people via different medium and different platforms.
Now you are saying they are on talk shows, and when we quote from talk shows, you have a problem with that. So we want to see the official information talking about this, because this made big news, and we're all celebrating around the country.
No,
that
so
indeed,
the big news here is the big news that you should be celebrating here is, for once after many years, we are having Liberians in partnership with other people out there.
Look, Mr. Toby, here's the big news.
Contemplating about investing in the Liberian airline or aviation industry, which is something that we should all commend. But for us to even say is the government of Liberia that is buying the airline or the president is purchasing the airline, no, that is far-fetched.
Okay, we understand that because the reference there to Air Liberia, and the president saying that he was looking forward to a day that, I'm paraphrasing here, resurrecting Air Liberia, which was government owned. So anything that is making reference to that is understood to be government is taking up this venture. So I wanted you to show me if there's any document either on the e-mention website to say, where there's a private initiative, the president was only there to grace the occasion. So all of us who were celebrating, I came from a town that we had a missionary plane. So plane is very big to me, right? We used to leave our farm as soon as we hear the plane, the sound of the plane. So we were all jubilating that once again, the glorious days of Air Liberia are back.
So the name of the gentleman who's on this airline is called John Ubuti. So Mr. John Ubuti is the Liberian partner to the partner from Ghana. So you need to find out who Mr. John Ubuti is.
Yeah.
So
Mr. Toby, I need to get in here. We the name Ubuti, John Ubuti rings a bell in Liberia. Let me read something from the e-mention.
Listen to me. Listen.
Okay, go ahead.
Before you go to the e-mention, right? You're asking me for the partnership. So I'm telling you how the conversation around the airline is. So I'm giving you the name of the Liberian partner who's partnering with the Ghanaian partner. So his name is
that answered my question. Let's bring in more meat into this conversation. That answered my question. Let me read this for you, Toby. I have to muscle you here, Mr. Toby. Hold on. Yeah, you answer the question. Let me muscle you a little bit if you don't mind, brother. Okay. The headline of that article on Executive Mansion website read, I mean, except you guys are trying to make President we are to take glory for something that he has no hand in whatsoever. And this is the impression you're giving here. Let me read. President Weah unveils one of his major dreams, Liberian carrier. Now, so let me read here. Here is the president speaking. Thus, in launching the country's first post-war national carrier Friday, October 30th, 2020 at the Rabat International Airport in Mangibi County, the president could not hide his glee and joy. I am so delighted to be here today to witness the ceremony organized by the promoters of the new airline to be known and starred as Lone Star Air, Wings of Liberia, to operate as a national flag carrier for Liberia, the chief executive said. The president noted that the launch of Lone Star Air was consistent with his long-held vision and clarion call for Liberia's place in the international aviation industry. Far-minded investor to take interest and explore the investment opportunity in Liberia. Now, when I read that, Toby, you are providing us information that we didn't have, that, oh, this is a private investor trying to operate in Liberia along with Gold Star. You are aware at some point there were some investors that went into the country that had a conversation with the president. I would think maybe you were at that gathering when the president expressed the idea, and we were told by the executive mansion folks that they was Liberia trying to bring in an airline. And now here is the president expressing his glee and joy about the Liberia having their own carrier. So this information does not suggest what you are saying, except when it was not disclosed then.
Except you understanding it from a different perspective. So if an airline carries the flag of Liberia, and a Liberian is partnering with that airline, it carries the name Liberia. You think the people that carry American airline, if for the individual or if for American people,
no,
or the British Airways,
no,
but it carry the flags,
no,
it carry the seals, or it carry the symbol of the country.
Right.
So if the president visioned that one day he want to see a carrier carrying Liberia flag, and it's going to happen under his watch.
And Toby, let me tell you something. A national carrier is different when you say an airline operating as a business in a country. When you say national carrier, it ascribes ownership to the country, if not partnership with the country. And this is what the article is saying. So except you want to tell me the whole thing here is erroneous, it's only intended to promote the president.
No, it is not.
because the way you are understanding it, the fight remains and will continue to be a private initiative witnessed by the president, and the president's vision is that under his administration, there should be a carrier carrying the flag of Liberia called the Lone Star Air or the Wings of Liberia.
And why would they not say a private carrier, but they want to call it a national carrier?
Mr. Toby, here's my question.
So everyone, they think the way they feel they want to carry it, but the fact of the matter is, it is not the government of Liberia that is in the discussion to purchase the flight. It is a private Liberian in conversation with partnership that is working towards the purchase and the coming in of the country of flight that will be called the Lone Star Air. And the president is going to base that.
And then my problem is, in this executive mansion article, they will not even mention this private carrier or the Liberian who's trying to establish the airline. The article will not make reference of him, but all we see here is that promoting the president and the government.
That is your point. That is your point, because Mr. John Yuboti name were mentioned in the press release. Is that the point? Because you didn't see the name of the private individual, Mr. John Yuboti?
So when something is about me, why would you not want to mention my name?
So it is an ongoing discussion, and the president has gone to grace the occasion. The president spoke in his capacity, expressing his joy and his vision that this should come to pass. He even cautioned the reliability of the discussion. He urged them that he's hoping that they will complete all of the formalities to make sure that this dream come to pass. If it is a government initiative, the president will not be telling you, say, go to Justice Ministry, go to the Liberia Business Registry, and go to all of the stakeholders involved in this issue to make sure that your vision or your dream come to pass. It's going to be a very good thing under this administration to see this happen.
Mr. Toby, let me get in my last question on this topic. Will you agree then that the article on the eMansion website did not provide all the necessary information? It was not clear.
No, it is not about the article on the eMansion website. The eMansion was not writing for the private investor. The eMansion was giving you what the president feelings and believe in his vision is. The eMansion is not a PR company for Gold Star.
What I'm saying.
No. You gotta listen to this one. The eMansion is not the PR for the Gold Star or the Mr. Yuboti company, and of course or the team from Ghana. What we did and continue to do is to put forth the president, engagement out of function. We don't go there writing for the party A, party B, and party C.
No, what I'm saying is, if those details were provided, don't you think that the confusion we have now wouldn't be the case?
So that is why we are here to provide you what is lacking. So you don't have to come, wearing a boxing glove here. If there's information missing, that is why we come here to provide the information. And so you don't have to put on a boxing glove for that.
No, I saw you with a boxing glove because
man, you got your gloves on. I got my gloves on. Then you want to complain.
If there is something missing, our responsibility is to come here to provide the information. So we come here to help you, provide you the missing link. And all we are doing here is to give you what you seem that was missing. So I've given you the need.
No, and I understand that
was missing.
Yeah, but you are not willing to admit that there's a missing information in there, and that gave room for much rumors out there and misunderstanding and confusion.
No, your point of understanding initially that you wanted to know was whether the plane was a government-owned plane. I've come to tell you, no, it is not the government of Liberia that is purchasing the airline.
All right.
It is a Liberian firm that is in conversation with a Ghanaian firm. The president has gone to the occasion to grace the occasion, and he felt very pleased that we've reached a point that Liberians can even get involved in that industry.
Thank you. And Mr. Toby, here's a broader question for you.
Please go ahead.
There is always some confusion or something not clear. Let's say there are a lot of rumors surrounding issues. Let's start from the death of the auditors. And then it went to the missing man at the link to Simosis and other things like that. Then now the death of Minister Nyenpan, and now we have the airline. Don't you see that there is always, government or whoever is responsible is not forthcoming, and as a result, a lot of confusion, a lot of rumors in between? Do you see a problem with the way the government or the arms of government responsible for information dissemination is really not doing a great job?
No, that is not the fight. We are not the spokesperson for Moses and his personal business.
Okay,
So
no,
when
I'm
those
talking about the police interrogation.
No, but it is not for us to be giving information why between Moses and his diamond business and his funeral home and
what
family.
the police is doing to investigate these
No,
crimes.
listen, the police will always investigate. But for you to say what happened to Moses and the family, when the police stay investigating and people are already rendering judgment, that is not the way to proceed.
The information is always lacking, and so people are filling
It is not
that
lacking.
space with rumors.
It is not lacking. The fact of the matter is that all of us, or some of us, just lack the patience. We are not as sophisticated like the guys in the West would do. Even people who in the sophisticated world, they take time with investigation. Some investigation go for years. Some investigation, yes, you'll be very on top of the issue, and based on the link, you can get a trace. But when you got a government arm that is investigating, and people sit in their comfort and assume that there's a fireplace somewhere without allowing the investigator to do their work, we will always have this kind of a conversation around here. Even I'm sitting here, no one knows what is happening to me here someday, right? And I may just fall off. Something could just happen. Until there's a medical report, people will tell you, say, maybe because the man can talk plenty, or people always attach people's death to something.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that clears the doubt of the family and relatives and friends is what the doctors says. So in Africa, if I say no one died for nothing here in our world, every time there is someone who passed, it's either attributed. If you're in a community, they will say that witchcraft. If you're in a government, they will attribute it to your enemies. So people will always have perception about things that happen. But that is the wrong way to go. Especially when there are situations that the government investigating. For people to even jump to the conclusion and start to make statement and linking people to things that is being investigated, that is not fair to those individuals. And we need to put a stop to that.
Mr. Toby, let me confirm something you said. I told you we are fair here, and I will not lie. Sometimes I come with my gloves here because my only interest is that the truth should come out. In the same article, something you said that I want to confirm here. Recently, I was so happy when I was informed, the president speaking. I was so happy when I was informed by authority of the Ministry of Transport that potential investors from our sister country of Ghana have formed partnership with Liberian entrepreneurs and have applied to the Aviation Authority for permission to jointly develop a new airline for Liberia. To develop a new airline for Liberia, the Liberian leader stated, thanking those who have undertaken the landmark initiative. So while you were saying that it was a private people that were doing it, is what the article on the eMarshal website is also saying, and that is why you were saying.
No, so if you are going to read that article to the end and not stop halfway to ask your question, you will not ask the question like you're asking.
Mr. Toby,
because he also failed to read the article in depth. He took the article in piecemeal, and he formed his question on the portion of the article that he read. But now he's gone to the end of the article, and he realized that yes, it's a private.
So do I deserve some credit, Mr. Toby?
So he agrees with you, Mr. Toby, and
I'm agreeing with you.
And you still fighting.
I mean, somebody else will not bring that part up, but that does not take away all the questions that I have, my friend. And here is the deal. So, Mr. Toby, how you felt, Toby, Mr. Jal, let me bring that. How you felt, Toby? You saw the president of Liberia sitting there with a cake right in front of him, and they had a toy airplane right there, and they said they're launching an airline. Well, I mean,
so remember that those
eat cake now.
So
those were this thing. I hope it is a real deal, because from what I see, I don't see it, because I investigated the Gold Star. The Gold Star airline has no credibility. They have no history. I called their phone number. They will not answer me at all.
You need to wait. Let us stop wishing evil for things that are in progress.
Mr. Toby, just I'm eager for good things. It's not I'm wishing evil. I'm eager for good things.
That's what the president, the last paragraph you read, the president is also hoping that this come to pass. So those who are in the conversation are now challenged to make sure that this become a reality. So for us to be doubting, the credibility of the individuals involved in the conversation, then we are not thinking, positive. And let us give it a try. And the president is hoping that they succeed. It's going to be a boost.
And if they lie to the president,
or that could just be some of the failed discussion. People go to discussion, sometimes they don't succeed.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. We are in conversation with Deputy Press Secretary, Mr. Smith Toby. So welcome all of you in cyberspace. Mr. Toby is excited and he's loving this moment. Let's go on to the, we got a report of a draft audit report that was reportedly leaked. Did you happen to get a copy, Mr. Toby?
We don't follow those kind of information. The first thing you said, a leak audit report.
Yeah, people do that. Even they leak things to throw some trial balloons. So anytime there is leak, doesn't make
even
it
people
illegal.
at the executive mansion can leak some things to get some information. It's another way of getting information, and you know that, Toby.
So the same institution that claimed to have the leak report have come out to inform the public that they don't substantiate the report.
Yeah, Mr. Toby, when we get these things, we come to you and ask you, just tell us if it is true or not.
That's what we're asking, Mr. Toby. So, Mr. Toby, let me reframe the question. We have a leak report, the report from the IAA leaked to the public. Can you confirm whether or not at any time the IAA was working on this report that got leaked?
Well, I got no clue of any report on the IAA. I haven't seen an IAA report on the decks of the president at the moment. I'm not informed about a discussion or audit. The IAA is a very big institution. Remember, was it on yesterday or the day before, the integrity institutions were meeting with the president. They were giving the president the new strategy, how to tackle corruption. They've come with the IA representation, the PPCC, the LACC, and the GAC, and all of the integrity institutions. So if those institutions are doing their individual work, and there's a developing story on their function, we don't work into those institutions until it reaches the president in terms of an official report. Then we'll have the authority to confirm or deny or clarify.
But is the president aware of any leak audit report from the IAA?
No, except what we all saw on the social media.
And so the president and the office of the president treating it as no news to respond to.
Because the IAA came out and said it was not authentic.
The IAA released that information that it has no idea about that report?
Yes, 2 days.
Does it mean that arms were twisted to make that happen?
But that is not for us to know. The IAA is an integrity institution. They are the ones who are holding people accountable for things that they think they are doing wrong. So if they came up with something came up to the public and they come back from the institution and said, no, we can already confirm or deny this situation, then how can the executive marshal come to you and say, yes, we are aware that this is happening?
All right, folks in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is Q&A. Q&A comes on every other Sunday here at Focus on Liberia. We could not have Q&A last Sunday because of some conflict with our schedule. But we are here. You see Smith Toby is drinking some water. I am not drinking water. I'm not thirsty at all. It's in the house seat.
Before you got here, behind the camera, you were having some very good, I don't know, whether lunch or a breakfast.
My man, what happened behind the camera stays behind the camera. Don't. So folks, I got progress. Let me put some progress here. Toby, we really want to know the latest with these missing boys. You know, too many stories, Smith. So what is the story now? I mean, we don't know what to believe anymore. At first, we were told they got drowned, and sometimes they say, oh, actually they are alive. So these two accounts, which one you in the officers comment, why it is actually, did they actually die? Are they missing? What is it? We don't know.
Well, until the police can release their findings.
How long is that going to take, Toby? Even with the auditors there, we have not had a first preliminary report.
So until the police can release their findings, an ongoing investigation with several sides to the story. You've heard the proprietor, Mr. Moses, gave his side. You heard the traditional people involvement. So we're hearing out of the different side of the story. Again, for us to speak to our ongoing investigation, that I'm not even privileged to the first page of that investigation at the moment. It is an ongoing investigation. Let us give it some time. I'm told that there will be some report coming up as to when that will happen. We are looking up to the Liberia National Police to help inform the Liberian people. There are some reports that the kids or the guys are alive. Others are saying that they got drowned. So all of those claim and counterclaim can only get clearer when the police complete their investigation. In the absence of that ongoing investigation report, it is not prudent for me to sit on your platform to give you detail on the ongoing investigation that I'm not even privileged to the first page of the ongoing investigation.
So, Mr. Toby, is the police in all these investigations, starting with the auditors and now the missing young men, is the police giving out any preliminary updates so as to calm the fear? Because we are talking about families that are hurting, people are dead.
Yeah, you need to find the police. Also got a Facebook page. They also doing reports and briefing the press. A few days ago, there was a journalist that was allegedly killed in Bon County. The police was briefing the press on that situation. On the findings, the police hasn't briefing the public about the death of the auditors. I'm told that some of them were buried this weekend. One of them will be buried in the coming week as well. So I don't know what this conclusion are leading to the bearer, but the police has those information that they've been releasing to the public that you need to follow so that you can be in the know of what the police have reported to the public in the findings.
Another issue that came up is this of Chief Zanzan Kawa, right? And when I heard that well, the people are alive, we could find them, except that the president or the government needs to give us the go-ahead or lift some ban. Are we going to this Sasewu age, or what's going on with Zanzan and the whole thing about using some supernatural power to find these people?
Well, I think the government put a ban on certain traditional practices in the country. I think the poorer and sanit society. So when those sort of information started coming out, it was assumed that apparently The guys were being kept in one of those traditional schools or somewhere. And then the only people who are authorized to go to those places are the traditional chiefs. And who gave them the authorization is the Ministry of Internal Affairs. But that was just one side of the story. Whether that was the actual story or not, the police stayed looking into some of those claims. So we are still looking forward to see what the findings will be.
Thank you. Mr. Toby, do you have any question for us?
Oh, no, I don't have a question for you. I'm waiting for your questions.
All right.
All right. Dennis, concerning the death of the auditors, there is a Liberian humanitarian who put out a $5 million Liberian bounty for anybody who will provide information that will lead to the death of the auditors. I want to ask Mr. Toby whether or not he's aware of this information, whether or not the police or the government is working along with this gentleman. I think the government should have interest, in who were responsible for the death of these auditors. Toby, anything that the government is doing in working with this gentleman?
I don't know whether that information was made public to the Liberian government or it was submitted to the Liberian National Police. If the humanitarian or the philanthropists have communicated that to the Liberian National Police, I'm sure it will be in the public by now. I'm sure again it's something on the social media. So it's good to come to the public. So if
it's not a social media, it's a news article, by the way, and it's dated on November 4th, 2020.
I haven't seen that article, but I haven't heard anyone talk about it.
And Toby, as the information man for the executive mansion, you gotta increase your reading speed, my man. Read the papers every day.
But not so I would just not everything out there I may have the opportunity to see.
I understand.
So if that information came out in a local daily or it is on the radio, we will follow, we'll listen. We'll listen to the radio stations here religiously. We'll read the newspapers and the articles. So to have one article in one newspaper putting out some money, that should be something that, how many persons you think will get a copy of the paper? If it is on the radio, I'm sure that you will have this going out in all communities and people will be spreading the information around. But again, it's an article in a newspaper that many persons will not be opportune to read.
Well, I think the police is in the know because according to the article,
Mr. Sear, let's move forward. If whoever put up the bounty, I mean, it's not the major headline. Let's move forward to our last one. We don't have time.
All right, Mr. Toby, let's come to our last point of discussion here. There has been a project that the government of Liberia has been undertaking to provide water in Monrovia or Mosorado County, so to speak. Our understanding is that that project is completed and it was funded by the U.S. government through the Millennium Compact. That is great news for Liberia, and the Liberian Water and Sewer Corporation going to be taking over the management of that project. So what's the update on that?
Well, I think the Millennium Challenge team has done a very big job. I remember the president leading the team there sometime back, few months back at the groundbreaking ceremony for that project. We've had very tough time in having pipe-bound water into the city. And so they've been working on that project for the last few months now. With the government of Liberia, we are happy that they've completed that project. And they also tell you that the relationship with the government and the United States on their projects are ongoing and is proving to be realized. And so I'm sure once it is completed, it's going to get dedicated, and then the service will be provided. But it is a very big boost, because that's one of the major problems in our capital right now, the issue of water. The LWSC had her own situation in providing water to homes in the capital, and they've been struggling in changing those corroded pipes for a very long time. Now that they've had some intervention, it is something that the government is proud of, and they are encouraged about that. I'm sure that the scorecard in meeting the Millennium Development Goal, the last time around, the government did not do very well in some of its deliverable. What we are hearing that we've made some very good improvement in the new scorecard that will be announced sometime very soon. That is a boost for the government. We are looking forward to that announcement by the government and her partners. We are also looking forward and commending the Ministry of Education. This is something that we will talk about maybe the next time, but we don't want to say that to you, that the Liberian students this time around have done very well in the just held wax exam. The grade mark as compared to last time around to this time is remarkable. WAEC is about to announce that result. We are privileged for that information to come to us, and want to commend the parents and the students, even in the midst of COVID, that our students did remarkably well this time around in the writing of their exam. That is something very remarkable that the public will need to know about. Another information that I will leave you with is that the government now has a joint resolution by all integrity institutions. They've made some recommendation to the government through the office of the president as the new approach in this government handling the issue of corruption in our country. Remember that the LCC, again, headed by Mudiki, brought in integrity institutions. And those institutions.
You say one with Dicky and integrity?
The word Wamodike, the name Wamodike and integrity can go
You're using them in the same sentence? But Mr. Smith, here's a question for you.
They've submitted that document and it's been perused. We are looking forward to working with it as the government implements those recommendations.
Thank you. There's a question here I want to read, and because we always want to talk about the stimulus package, Josiah Smith is saying, and by the way, we will give chance for just 2 questions. Our phone lines are open. We're about to close, but let's ask Mr. Smith, is there any update on how far the stimulus package has gone, Mr. Toby? And Mr. Toby, I'm concerned too. My people in Duduke have been waiting for this stimulus package. Any update?
I don't know whether your people in Duduke were being captured in the affected communities that were reporting COVID. Besides that, you know that there's been change of administration. The man who headed that stimulus package was transferred to the EPA. There's a new team headed by
Mr. Toby, that just happened yesterday, and that should not stop the district. Okay, my people in Nikru Town, no road problem. They have not received a green arrest. What is happening?
When you ask me for update, I'm about to give you update. Then you say people in Nikru Town.
But that's my people. They have not received a green arrest.
So that's what I said. So to give you an update on it, are we still on?
Yeah, yes, we are still on. We can hear you. Toby, go ahead.
Okay, so to give you an update when there is a transition currently with a new team, I mean, I gave you the appropriate answer on the stimulus package. I don't know the status currently, because there's a new team that should be taking over, and they will provide us the current update.
Thank you. Well, I don't think we have callers. We can, it's time to to close, draw down the curtains, Mr.
It's time to draw down the curtain, folks. In cyberspace, the phone lines are open. The number to call is 605-313-604. Enter the pin 791-403 #. Is the number pin, Dennis?
Yes, and Mr. Toby, another question, another comment here from Christopher A. Camara. He said, Mr. Toby, they are aware of those information, but they choose the negative and falsehood and lies part. And then like I say, this is an opposition platform. So Mr. Toby, do not come here.
No, at least every time we come here, we manage to convince at least one or two persons. So whether they are opposition platform, but I know the guys are doing a very good job. They're asking the question, we will provide the answers once we know them.
Thank you. So Mr. Toby, we don't have a call here. We'll be drawing down the curtains. Mr. CA, let's wrap this up. There's another show coming up at 6 p.m. Eastern. The Liberian ambassador to the USA and Canada, plus Mexico, will be here to answer the tough question on the roles, the responsibility, the mandates, and the accomplishment of the Liberian embassy here in North America.
Well, so let me say thanks. Let me say thanks to the both of you. It's always a good time. I'm reading the comments from the viewers as well. Again, it is not for us to convince you. We've come here to share ideas on things that people out there want to know. And we bring you information that is good for you. It is not about you believing us, bringing our credibility to the public on these issues are very concerning to us. So every time we put ourselves in these positions, we try to be very upright in responding to it. It is not about how you feel, how angry you are. I know that some of you out there are yet to believe that there is a government headed by President Weah. So in your anger, everything we say here is of no sense to you. But again, for those of you who believe in our ability, thank you for viewing us. For those of you who don't believe us, we also thank you for spending your time here to watch us and write what you've written on the post. We appreciate it. We take it in good faith. And let me say thanks to this team, a wonderful team. Gentlemen, thanks for affording me yet another Sunday. I hope we will do this again another time. And I'd love to wish you guys a pleasant time.
That was the voice of Deputy Presidential Press Secretary Smith Toby. The next time you hear from him will be another edition of the program Q&A with Smith Toby. And Smith, for your information, the next one will be our 14th edition. Can you imagine how far we gone, man?
Wow, that's good. And that will be another 14. So how you not call it?
No, I will call it President. We have 14th edition.
So we'll dedicate
that one. We'll dedicate that one to President Weah. That will be the 14th edition.
We will dedicate it to Mama Musa, the original 14.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks, man. Thanks for the time.
All right. As always, Mr. Toby, we want to say thank you for always coming here and answering the tough questions. And those of you who feel that we are opposition, we are doing our job. We believe if you are playing the role of a journalist asking questions, ask serious questions. That doesn't mean you are on any side. I am on no side. I'm just trying to do my job to the best of my ability. And Mr. Toby, who is your guy, he's doing what he can do. So the level playing, the level fee, the fee here is very level. And so we want to say thank you for always following us here at Focus on Liberia. Don't forget to like our Facebook page. We also have a YouTube page, YouTube channel where we upload all our show. Go there, subscribe, and share our show. We will also appreciate that. My partner is Dennis. Today, I don't have anything to close with. He got something. Dennis?
Well, to close is Mr. Toby. Also, we have been at Focus on Liberia. We have been decrying, calling for a stop to this culture of no debate. We want us to debate the issue. We want our candidates, both for the House, the Senate, and also the presidency, to debate. We also want to debate national issues, because anytime we debate, we are talking about the issues. Anytime we don't debate, we are just attacking personalities. In the words of Dr. H. Bowman formula, he says, our mouth is not gone. So it's better for us to talk, for us to debate than to fight. Until then, from all of us here at Focus on Liberia, My name is Dennis Jar, closing on behalf of the team. We don't forget to end with the song that says, we are all Liberian. Whether you work in the mansion, like Mr. Toby, or you work in Dodwakan like me, we are all Liberians. And
or if you are from Southtown like me,
let's do our best
Liberian.
to make Liberia that glorious land of liberty that we all enjoy. Mr. Toby, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so, folks, bye-bye. Watch for the Hour of Politics on Tuesday. I will be doing a comprehensive analysis on the death of Mr. Mambutu Nyenpan. You do not want to miss it. I have all the information. I even have audio tapes concerning the whole story. You don't want to miss it. Bye-bye, folks.
We are